All right, welcome everyone to Sunday Stock Talk. This is the third edition. We're going to be looking at what happens with this open here at 6 p.m. on futures. We're going to be talking about the setups that could potentially come from this, as well as we're going to be looking at your stock picks. And I'm going to be going through some day trades and, just having a good time. All right. So feel free as we go through to just post any chart requests that you have or ask any questions. But I was just about to say that, here's the previous week's high, and here's the previous week's low. So we're looking right now to see what's going to happen as we pierce through this high. Is it going to be a real breakout, or is it going to be a false rejection? So that's what we need to see from this chart. And how we're going to tell is we really need this candle to close. So when it comes to doing the overnight action and the Sunday open, I like to wait until at least 1 hour is done so that I can really make a judgment. Okay. So I'm just gonna double check the audio, just make sure I have audio. Okay, yeah, so we got audio, we're good to go. And so in general, when we open on Sunday, the worst thing that you can do is just start getting really aggressive and not waiting for price to confirm what it wants to do. If it wants to continue higher, then we have to close above this resistance. If at the end of this hour, if we flip over and we actually close below, I would consider that very bearish. But as it looks right now, looks like we are definitely, have some momentum here. So let's see what's going to happen. Okay. So please throw your stock requests in there as we go. And I'm going to start talking about some updates on the recent swings that we're in and talking about what I think is next. So I'm going to start off with PayPal, go to the weekly. So PayPal for me has been a very, very successful trade. And I got filled 2 weeks ago. And my target is really up here in this 3 area. And I'm still waiting to get that target filled. And hopefully next week we have either a gap up here filling all these targets, or we kind of consolidate, move sideways, and continue higher. Whatever happens, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to lose on this trade now since I'm up here. Stop losses back to break even. So it's a free trade for me, and whatever I can get out of it, I'll be more than happy to lock in a few bucks. The next thing that we have here is Adobe. So Adobe, so let me move these over. But basically with Adobe here, as you can see, we had that inside bar. So I got filled again on this a while back, and just waiting here for the price to continue either higher or lower. It looks pretty favorable in my direction for now, but again, we'll have to wait and see. So I took this mini inside bar break here. I'm looking for this play upward. We had the 786 Fibs supporting us as well. To trade options or stocks. So I don't trade options. I used to, but I make a lot more money trading the stock, just through margin or through futures contracts for the S&P and the indexes. I don't like options mostly because of the time decay, and you're basically constrained that the price has to do this by X amount of time. And I really, really don't like that at all. I rather just trade the stock. So for example, like if Adobe does this, it goes sideways like this for the next 6 weeks, the options will pretty much be worthless. And I find that pretty crazy because if I'm up on the trade, then how could I lose money? So that's why I stay away from options. I don't really recommend it for new traders. I like options for, if I'm going for a home run play or if I'm going for a hedge. Like if I have a lot of longs and I want to hedge with a put, and then it makes sense. Otherwise, I stay away from that. So the next thing we had, so Baba, let's go look at Baba. So Baba, I got filled down here on the 786, and it popped up initially, but it's pulled back. And I'm still just giving it some time to do its thing. I don't think it's dead in the water yet for the bulls. I still feel like we could do this higher low pattern and kind of go back up here or go sideways. If, like I said, I won't be concerned about this position until it really breaks this swing low. Then I'll be worried about, should I really be in this long or not? Otherwise than that, I'm just gonna let it hang out and do its thing. Let's see what else we got here. So Microsoft. So Microsoft, if we look closely on the weekly here, it's been building this nice little base. And we have 3 candles here just hugging this mid Bollinger Band. And I really, really like this pattern. I really like how there's 2 wicks beside on the other end of this hammer. So I really think if we can break through these wicks, that we should start to have a nice little push back into all-time highs. And I'm really hoping that we do, because I've been sitting in this for a while. But if it turns around and stops me out, not a big deal. I already have like positions like PayPal and stuff that are already paying me. Let's look at DraftKings. So yeah, so DraftKings first target's already hit. We got in somewhere down here in the 786 zone. I averaged into a position, and now the 382 has been hit already. So that's like really your first target. And now I'm just really hoping that if we come back down here, I'll buy some more. If we kind of do a higher low like this and then go up, then that's all good with me as well. So still bullish on DraftKings. I don't see anything really to be worried about until this swing low goes. If this swing low gets taken out, then the whole picture will be different. Okay, please guys, throw your requests in the chat, please, so we can go through them. Let's look at Tesla, where we were at Tesla. So Tesla has been the biggest winner here, and we had that 50% tag, and we had the trade to the extensions that I told you guys about. So the first target that I had there was first was 560, which was this 272. Now we've hit 592, and we are coming right up against this 50 zone right here. So I like how we closed on with this long wick hammer. If this bar goes, so basically if this low at 541.21 gets taken out, I think Tesla might retest this previous high, this zone here, and maybe we do something like this where we come back here, hug it, and then we accelerate higher. So Tesla's been in good shape. One that I called out recently that's been just worked immediately was Intel. So Intel, I had this on the radar for a very, very long time. I posted it on Twitter many times that we were coming into, look at this. Let's zoom out here, and we could see that we had this big support area. And when we came back down to the support area again, we got my favorite pattern. We had this inside bar and another one here. So just entering right above this inside bar, right close to the high with a stop, either below the low or a little bit above. This one already hit all targets. So 3.5, very easy, very beautiful trade. Nothing fancy. We had support, we had the inside bars. That's all we need. Okay, we got some requests. So let's start off with Square. Yeah, Square looks good. I like this hammer. So this hammer, if we can break above this high over here, I'm expecting a little squeeze. The other thing you have to be considerate about with Square is that we're already on a big run and we're up on the top of the Bollinger Band. So anytime we're up here, you got to be a little bit cautious being a bull. And if we do something where we pull back in here and get tight and make kind of like a flag pattern, that would be ideal for a big, big pop. All right, so let's look at AMD. How do I set targets for inside bars? Okay, I'll show you that. So let's go back to Intel actually, so then I can show you how to set the targets. So let's zoom in on the actual entry here and let's talk about the setup. So I trade based on the candles, right? I don't trade based on the price. The candles represent the price. So I look at the areas on the candle where I want to enter in order to place my trade. So let's say I want to get in. So on the top of the bar with a stop on the bottom of the bar. And let's just say I'm going for a 2R target to be conservative, okay? So 2R means 2 times my money. So this tool in TradingView, this long position tool, is what you need to use. It tells you how much, like where your targets need to be in order for you to get 2 times your risk. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna double click on this, and you're gonna put in here your risk. Okay, your risk. So this is how much you're gonna lose if this trade stops you out. So basically, if the price turns around and breaks this low, then it's good. Then you're gonna lose $50. Okay. So let's put it to $1,000 because normally that's what I'm looking for on a swing, right? So if I put it to $1,000 now TradingView will calculate everything. So it says I need to buy 478 shares in order for if I get stopped out here that I'm gonna lose $1,000. The entry price is 46.73. The stop loss is 44.64, and the target is $50.92. So when you work in your broker, all you have to do is put that in. So put those orders into your broker, entry, stop, target, and 478 shares. It's that easy. Okay. So let's look at AMD. Yeah, so AMD, the signal was 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I called this one out. I'm not sure why I didn't post it on Twitter. But yeah, same pattern, inside bar up against the mid Bollinger Band. This is what I like looking for, these patterns. And, the trend is up, right? So very, very straightforward. And we broke out already, and this is on its way up to targets. So right now, I wouldn't really be interested in buying. It could squeeze, but I like to play the patterns. And if I don't have a pattern, I'm not going to take the trade. Let's see what else we have. Apple. So let me remove these drawings for now. So Apple, I really like this setup here. It's actually a very beautiful setup because we can see that the shorts were trying to bring Apple down, and we got saved right here with this hammer candle. And now we've kind of closed above these wicks here. So as long as Apple can get above last week's high, I'll expect it to make a triumphant return back up into this zone. We might double top here, or we might break through. We're not sure yet. But basically, this pivot here, 112-ish, needs to hold for the continuation of the trend. All right. What else do we have? ACB, PFE, ACB. Yeah, so the weak stocks are weak stocks, right? They high risk, high reward, and there's been a lot of gaps and a lot of cracks, right? So I personally would recommend, my followers and my traders, if you're going to take positions in these companies, to just don't risk a lot of money, because you're going to get trapped one day on one of these gaps. And if you're on the wrong side of it, it's not going to be a good experience. So if we look at the weekly, I don't really want to be touching this from a long perspective because of this huge downtrend. What I would say here is it looks like there's a fib in play. We take it from here down to here. Yep. So there's a 618 right here. So this is the pivot for the shorts. As long as the 618 can hold, I expect us to roll back down. If this breaks, then I expect us to test this high. We might double top, or we might continue higher. Yeah, so for the inside bars, at least 2-to-1. You can go for 3-to-1, you can go for 4-to-1. It depends on what instrument you're trading. Some of them give you a little bit more than the others, but definitely a minimum 2-to-1. So what you could do is you could scale out. You could take some off at 2-to-1, you could take some off at 3, and move your stop loss up to break even as you're hitting your target. So that's what I recommend. All right, PFE. Okay, let's check that out. Yeah, look at that. That beautiful inside bar hammer. Next week, explode. So do you guys see why I love those inside bars so much? Look how beautiful that setup is. We have that inside bar hammer, and we have that explosion. So this trade has already hit targets, and now we're kind of waiting to see what's next. We might have another inside bar setup next week, so we'll wait and see. The setups are here. So, you have to have a methodology to how you trade, right? You can't just be chasing at highs all the time. You have to have a methodology. There's so many stocks in the stock market, right? So for me, the methodology is the fibs and the inside bars. I need to see those in order for me to be wanting to take a trade. Otherwise, it's not worth it, because in the long run, you're going to get burnt from constantly chasing at highs. And that's a lesson that I've learned. Zoom. So I talked about Zoom on my Twitter. Let's get rid of these. So the last time Zoom had an inside bar setup, I called this out and we got 3-1 on the trade. Now we have a double inside bar pattern. And yes, a lot of people are talking about, okay, gap down, we can short here. Yep, that makes sense. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. But what I'm saying is if we can break above these two wicks, okay, so 418, 419 basically, if we can get above here, how will this chart look? Well, this chart will look like a big green bar here. And when we have that kind of engulfing pattern taking out these wicks, I'm expecting us to pop. If we don't take out these highs, instead, if we gap down or if we open here and then we start falling down, yes, this could be a great short. But I still wouldn't take the short because with these type of companies, look at the trend. In 100 trades, if I short, I will lose. That's simple. That's why I don't do it. So if this thing does break through here and we short, and I'll be looking for the next setup to go long. But as long as we can get above here, then I'll be very interested in looking for a long opportunity. Beyond this. So beyond is looking, so this kind of worries me. Like I hate when we look at the charts that are in a range. So you can see we're in a range here, right? So this area 119 has been the lower end of the range and the upper end has been about 200 bucks. We did have an inside bar signal here, and then we immediately had this inverted hammer. So if we could break above this, I would consider that very bullish. So that's 145. But eventually, if we keep testing these lows, something has to give. And we might end up rolling back down here and retesting or breaking through. I'm not sure. But if we were to come up here, I would definitely be a lot more bullish. Interested in futures, can you please review your ES trades last week? Sure. So let's look at some ES trades. So I made a video on YouTube already, so please check that out. It has all the details. But let me just pick one of them and then talk to you about how you do it in futures. So let me get rid of this stuff here. And then we'll look at this setup. So as you guys know, I trade a lot of Fibs, especially with ES. Fibs are very important because the market is mostly run through robots. But basically here, let's look at this play. So we had an impulsive leg. We had a pull back to the 618. So I look at the SPY chart because I want a clean chart. I don't want the overnight action when I'm day trading. Only I want the overnight levels, but not the overnight action. But because too many candles, too many stuff going on, it's going to confuse you, right? So what I do is I go to SPY, I find the setup that I want, and then I come back to ES. And all I do is I just read the candle that I want on ES, right? So the candle is, let's find the candle here. That's all the way back at the beginning of the week. So this is December 1st. So we got to go back all the way to the beginning of the week. 3rd, 2nd, and then 1st. So as I'm trading every day, I have both. I have futures and I have SPY. SPY is where I'm doing my analysis. Futures is where I do the execution into the trade, actually getting into the trade with the orders. Okay, so here is the same setup here. So this is it looking from the futures. They're the same thing. It's just a different instrument, right? But they're both S&P 500. So we had the pullback to the 618. We had this nice inside bar setup. So I go down to the futures chart, and let's say I want to enter above this high, stop below the low, and then again 2-1, and then I just double click on this. It tells me my entry price 64.25, stop loss 60.25, and then my target is 72.75, and then it says I need to buy 5 contracts, right? So if I'm doing micros, that means I need to buy 50. But if I'm doing full contracts, that means I need to buy 5. So that's how I transpose it onto futures. The reason I don't do SPY shares is because futures are more leveraged, and I don't need as much capital up front in order to get into the contract. So it's more effective with your capital. Okay. So let's look at PTON. PTON. Okay, let's go back to the weekly chart. Let's take a look at this. Yeah. So nice little trend going here. We pulled back to the mid band and we got that reversal here. I would have loved if there was an inside bar here to play because that would have been a great setup, but there hasn't been any. So really here the trend looks good. Keep buying dips and just let this thing go until the steam stops. This needs to hold. This 90.87 area needs to hold for this pattern to continue. So this push up, pull back to the mid band, continue. Or push up, pull back, go sideways, continue. So that's the pattern we're looking for. What's your overall win rate with Fib? So, the win rate stuff is every system will come back to about a 50-50 win rate over time. Everything that I do, I test it over time. So I look at, what is this thing historically, like 2 or 3 or 4 years, because the Fibs might be 80% win rate this month, but that doesn't mean that's what it's going to be every single month. So you have to look at it over a period of time, at least a few years, to really get an average. And from my experiencing, whether it's inside bars, Fibs, whether it's Bollinger Bands, RSI, MACD, double bottom, double top, everything comes back to 50% over time because the market moves in cycles. When something is working, the other thing is not going to work, right? Because if only Fibs worked, then everybody will be a multimillionaire, right? Everything has its cycle in the market. What the question should be, so when you get a little bit more experience in trading, you need to be asking, what is the risk to reward? Okay, not the win rate. Risk to reward. The higher your risk to reward, the lower your win rate needs to be. So if you're getting a 3-to-1 or a 2-to-1, you just need to be right 36% of the time for 2-to-1, and I think 26% of the time for 3-to-1, right? So that's what you got to be looking for. You want to find something that is close to 50% and is going to get you paid, right? So for example, with me, if I lose, let's say I lose 7 trades in a row or 8 trades in a row. Okay. So let's say I lose 8 trades in a row. That's going to be minus $8,000. But if I just win 3 trades after that, I'm up 11 grand. Right. So that's how you counteract. Nothing is going to work all the time. You have to have a good win rate. Okay. And that's why Fibs are good, because the win rate built into Fibs are great. You can always get at least 2-to-1. You can get 3-to-1. You can get 4-to-1, 5. If the Fib trades to the extensions, you can get 4 plus, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, depending on your entry. So that's why I really like Fibs. And they're pretty accurate. This month, I would say, so I guess this month plus November, it's been at least 70% accurate, which has been crazy. And I know it's not going to last. But when the setups are there and when things are rolling, you make the money. And when they're not, you just take a step back. And it's like doing a business. You're going to have revenues and you're going to have expenses. So when you lose, your losing is just a part of your business expense. And that's the way you got to look at it. All right. So any more requests for Python? There is an inside bar on the daily. Good question. Good call. Yeah, for me on the daily chart, so let's look at some of these inside bars and see how they played out before. So we had this one, which was a winner. We had this one, which was a loser. This one was a loser. This one was a winner. This one was a loser. This one, loser, neutral, winner. So that's how I look at it. So I like to start off with the weekly first, but if I'm going to do an inside bar on the daily, I want to see what the win rate is. So what I suggest is you go back and do like maybe 2 years of this stock and see what's the win rate with the inside bars before you risk your money, right? That's what I do before I trade anything. I back test it diligently. I have all my results. I have my win rates. I know what I got to do. So I don't personally trade the stock, but I would suggest that you go back and take a look at some of these inside bar win rates and see if it's worth you risking your money. Personally, I think it can go either way, because this inside bar, we're kind of already pushed from lows. If this was at lows, that would be a better opportunity, I would say. So we'll have to wait and see on this one. But in general, I find the weekly chart to be more reliable than the daily chart with inside bars because there's more money involved. Yeah, exactly. You know, if someone's selling you a course or someone's selling you a program or they're coaching you and they haven't done their due diligence on testing something and knowing the win rate, then it's just all baloney, right? Everything that I do, I know the win rates. I know over time I have an advantage. That's what you need. That's what gives you confidence. That's what allows you to come to the market and take profits every week. If you know, okay, this is, yeah, I might lose today, I'm going to win tomorrow because you have that confidence from doing the back testing. So I encourage every one of you to do the back testing so you can get the confidence. Okay. Where were we? WKHS. Yeah, so this stock here, if we look from, let's go back to the weekly here. So this chart is kind of, yeah, so let's see. You know, personally, it's had a big run up here. And the trigger actually was a few weeks ago where we had that inside bar. So I think going long now, you might be a little bit late to the game because some people have already made money with this inside bar here. So we'll kind of wait to see if we get another setup, another inside bar play potentially. But I think right now this setup is still working itself out. So we'll have to wait and see for another potential setup. All right. So let's look back at ES and see what's happening here. See if there's any. See, look at that. This is what I wanted. I wanted this to happen so that I could show you guys live. You have to be patient and you have to have a process when you trade. And a lot of rookies, as soon as they see, you know, that we broke out, they're all buying, they're getting giddy, they're laughing up here. Some people bought right up here, expecting that we're gonna go to the moon. And then within 15 minutes, we reverse. And that happens all the time. So I want to show you guys this live that be patient, let the candle close in the first hour and then play accordingly. Okay. So be safe when you trade and, you know, don't be one of these guys buying right here. All right. So if there's not any more questions, let me know if you guys have any more requests or anything. But basically, I'm going to spend 2 minutes talking about my book. I finished my book. It's 75 pages, over 75 charts, and everyone has been asking me for more guidance on the Fibonacci. So I decided to just put everything in one book because it's hard responding to DMs and explaining it one by one. So I decided to put it in a book. Took me 5 years to build that experience, and it seems like people can't really afford a very high price. So I decided to just sell for $50 because I want people to be able to get the knowledge and help them grow. Because when 5 years ago, when I lost pretty much everything that I had in trading, I lost about $20,000 trading options. I told myself if I find a way out of here and I can make my money back and I'm successful, then I'm going to help others. And this is my way of helping others is with this book. So I've already had 55 people sign up, and if you're interested and you're listening to this, DM me with your email, and I'll let you know when it's fully edited because it's still with the editor right now. But otherwise than that, I hope you guys learned something from the Sunday Stock Talk, and I'm just gonna take a few minutes to talk about what I'm looking at next week, and then we'll wrap it up. So Amazon. So I'm gonna remove these. So Amazon, we had that double inside bar and we broke to the upside and we kind of just stalled. So I'm waiting to see what the resolution is, if we're gonna continue to go higher or not on Amazon. But I'm still watching that very closely. NVIDIA, this is one I'm watching very closely as well because we had this inside bar with this long wick to the top, and right when we break this wick above 546, I'm looking to see if we're going to squeeze higher or not. I think there's a good chance there. Let's look at Facebook. So Facebook was talking about this double inside bar. We broke to the upside and we pushed up really aggressively and we sold off. So right now, I'm not sure if we're going to continue higher or roll over, but still, nonetheless, we're going to wait and see here. So those are the ones that I'm kind of looking at for next week. Let me see if I have anything else here. No, not interested. Procter & Gamble looks good here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 red candles in a row. If we can break above this bar, so above 140.17, I would expect us to kind of at least push a little bit back up. So I like P&G here. Home Depot, I called this short out. Let me just remove this. So we have this double inside, and the reason why I was looking to short on Home Depot is because we had this long wick here first that was taken out. So this short is already up 3% from my call out, which was back here, and this thing could get going if the market, especially next week, if the market is weak, we could see Home Depot continue to drop. DraftKings, I already talked about that. Nike, we have that inside bar over there that's playing out. Microsoft talked about it. Netflix, same thing as Facebook, waiting for the resolution. McDonald's here, nothing really going on to my liking. Google, I've been writing this for a long time and I'm just going to keep enjoying the ride. Adobe, we talked about that. The Qs and the SPYs, they're the same thing. They're at the top of the band, so be careful. And then Uber is just something I've been holding for a long time, and I'm happy with the results that I've been getting there. So that's pretty much all that I have. Let's see if there's any more questions. What tool do you use to draw fibs? So right here on Tradingview, you can click on this arrow here and go to Fibonacci retracement and just draw from low to high. I have a video on YouTube explaining everything, step by step for free. So that can help you out with getting started with those fibs. Okay. So thanks for joining me, and let's have a great week next week. Keep your risk to a manageable level. And, if we close with this long wick, we may be trapped within this range for the next week. So we'll have to see. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, guys. And so if you want a copy of the book, just DM me and send me your email. And I'll get you on the list. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and look out for those calls tomorrow morning. Take care.